The story begins with a woman who leaves her newborn son in the care of a kind lady with the promise that she would return soon but never came back. 18 years later, the baby became the protagonist of this story, called Lu Shu. He spends his days surviving and trying to take care of his sister Xiaoyu, with whom he escaped from the orphanage with. They are not related by blood, but they have a very strong bond since they shared many experiences since childhood. Lately in the city, people with strange powers have been appearing, and although Lu Shu doesn't want to be involved in it, he ends up crossing paths with a group that is looking for the awakened people, called hunters. After an accident, Lu Shu realizes that he also has powers, a rare ability that is linked to him through the only memory that he has of his mother, which not only gives him super physical strength, but depending on the emotions that he causes in others, such as fear or anger, he earns points which he can use in an imaginary roulette that grants him benefits, such as objects to recover vitality or increase his abilities. However, he soon gets into trouble after meeting another awakened person who has been causing havoc in the city and who is being sought by the hunters. After realizing that something is happening in the city, Lu Shu continues to gain points as he takes the opportunity to make the school kids angry. However, he also has good moments, such as when he helps save the teacher. He keeps improving strength or endurance, as if it were a game. Even when his sister falls ill, he gives her one of the roulette rewards, and she is cured instantly. Lately, many people had been discovering their powers just as if it were a virus spreading. So in school, the possible awakened students are separated and organized for an extra class, directed by a hunter. At the extra class, the hunter reveals that it had been found that when a sodium-potassium alloy comes into contact with the blood of a suitable person, the liquid changes from silver to black. The darker the liquid, the higher the rating. Lu Shu had the lowest rank, however he doesn't let it affect him too much and continues to increase his skills. He ends up increasing his points so much until a sword releases. The sword appears to be very powerful, so much so that the hunter in charge of the extra class has to give him advice on how to contain his powers. And they end up not working together since Lu Shu's power seems to be too different from the others, so instead he must look for someone who knows how to guide him. At home after school, the star systems align and Xiaoyu suddenly awakens, and Lu Shu comforts her in the moment since he'd been through it. Later, Lu Shu runs into a sword master called Li, who offers to teach him how to use a sword, but Lu Shu declines abruptly and leaves. In the next few days, Li the sword master was visited by the leader of the entire organization of hunters who are looking for the old man to join forces with them. However, he ends up rejecting the offer, but while Lu Shu spies on them, he realizes that it could be good to learn from Li as he's connected to the hunters. So he asks Li if he can train him, and he ends up accepting, thus starting arduous training with Li, where he teaches him little by little the basics of the sword and also concentration techniques. He demonstrates the importance of having a goal as motivation. In this case for Lu Shu, it is to live well and take care of his sister. He even gives a part of his power to Xiaoyu, and after a while of practice the two undergo the same test the hunter demonstrated in the extra class. However, this time both Lu Shu and his sister get a result that doesn't coincide with any rank that had been seen before. Lu Shu then achieves a second layer of nebula which provides protection against injuries, and Xiaoyu can summon and control beings that have already died, which is very unusual but quite powerful, so they hide the result from the old man, telling him that they are still the same rank as before. Soon after, they discover that there is a battle in the city and decide to go to investigate, finding out that the hunters of the city are fighting against an awakened criminal, with whom they are having great problems dealing with due to his insane resistance. So after cornering him in an alley and using all their forces, Lu Shu intervenes, where we see all the fruits of his training come into play, not only with the awakened criminal but also with the hunters, since his new ability makes him significantly more powerful. He ends up defeating them all and finishes the awakened criminal in a pretty epic way using his dagger. This is not lost on hunters who already have their eye on who is to them a mysterious awakened human. After, Lu Shu enjoys a meal with his sister when we get to see a little of what the two endured when they escaped the orphanage, going days hungry and without a fixed roof over their head, but at least they love each other and what little they built they can call a home. Lu Shu continues working, selling food on the street to get whatever is necessary to save and get the desired house they want, while his sister begins to learn new forms of invocation. Time passes and Lu Shu arrives at school to find the new director is one of the leaders of the hunter organization called Tianluo, who comes with the purpose of finding the mysterious high-ranking awakened awakened student that we know is Lu Shu, but will be so difficult to identify since he so greatly deceives the school for not being that strong. Lu Shu and Xiaoyu finally get the capital for the house they wanted. However, an emergency happens in the city and the class of awakened humans are taken to the battlefield, specifically a place known as the Ruins, which appeared alongside people with powers and is believed to be some kind of alien contamination zone. However, in this case the ruin has been unstable and they take the protagonist in case there is an emergency. While they're traveling, Lu Shu takes advantage of this time to gain points, being quite unpleasant with those who deserve it until an emergency occurs as a mysterious fog surrounds the camp, sending them into the ruins, which is an alternate reality where zombies and evil spirits inhabit. But for Lu Shu, it is not a problem to kill them. However, students and hunters are dying, so Lu Shu helps those who he can, at least until he meets a spy, since there were rumors of infiltrators in the ranks of Awakened, so he decides to follow him. However, it doesn't take long for them to have problems as the tension begins to be felt between the two, and there comes a point where they end up fighting, and as a surprise Lu Shu ends up killing a person for the first time. However, it doesn't seem to affect him too much because in his mind him and his sister are the only important thing, so he continues to explore the area in search of the object capable of nullifying the effects of the ruin, and on his way he meets some students from other schools with whom he tends to be a bad person too in order to earn more points. However, he always rewards them with something little by little, and the more advanced he finds himself, the stronger the zombies. The other students do not seem to be up to the level of Lu Shu, and they realize allying with him would be the best option despite the fact that they still thought he was weak, and for this very reason Lu Shu sticks to the mindset that the only worthwhile person was his sister, so he continues to benefit from any work he does, such as selling the weapons of those he defeated to the students in exchange for valuables and cash. His actions are understandable considering everything he suffered as a child and everything he had endured with his sister, seeing people who are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. However, he decides to continue accompanying them since there had been many casualties and the road to the center of the ruin had been heavily compromised. All of a sudden they're ambushed by spirits, which the hunters quickly drive away with their sword of souls, and although they are saved, they end up very tired, so Lu Shu gives them some fruits that he took from the roulette to heal them. They all then walk until they reach a hole that has the last area of the ruin where all those who survived, including students, hunters and others, were knocked out. The most applied girl stands out like the protagonist for her great role in killing zombies. Here they regroup and plan to go down to get the object that will free them all, led by Lu Shu, who has to expose more spies who infiltrated them as they want to get the object first. So with the mission ahead, they must go down as soon as possible. Lu Shu arrives as part of the elite of the school and they begin the journey. When they reach the bottom, they find all the dead spies, or at least, that seems to be what they expected, but when they are before the last area they get attacked by spirits, but they easily win since their team is much stronger, and one of the spies ended up becoming one of these ghosts and manages to kill one of the hunters. War is unleashed when the leader of all the ghosts appears, which begins a fight in which he shows why he is the leader. Meanwhile, the rest of the hunters and students take care of the minor ghosts. However, there are quite a few casualties, but they manage to eliminate a large part of the threat. Lu Shu sneaks into the leader's castle, and although he goes face to face with the stone guards, they end up simply terrified by the power that Lu Shu holds, so he even steals their weapons too. While the others begin to feel the pressure of the undead, more and more people die. Lu Shu in his search finds a mysterious box by which the leader is alerted and tries to prevent him from touching it as it would end the ruin and bring them back to their reality. However, Lu Shu touches it and manages to prevent more people from dying, thus returning the ruin to its active state and sending everyone back to reality. And finally, Lu Shu can reunite with his sister, Xiaoyu, and ends up showing her great fear of losing him, which reminds Lu Shu that she really is his only motivation. The situation for Lu Shu improves significantly because he now has his dream house. He's also the person who stood out the most in this event, and although he wants to continue earning points from the negative emotions of others, he now has the respect of not only the students but also the higher level hunters. However, Lu Shu only wants to be able to live a good life with his sister and see her happy, now being left with a powerful relic and even more strength than he believes he has himself. And this brings the anime to an end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe on your way out, and stay tuned for more anime recaps. Until next time, peace.